We're going to start our program, and we're kicking off the program with a special guest, somebody that is a true leader for parents across Pennsylvania, somebody who had the audacity to go to Washington last week and talk to people in power about what's happening. So I want to welcome April Jackson Washington.
Come on. Say hello.
Hello, Assisi.
Say welcome
Welcome
to the dinner.
Dinner.
And thank you
And thank you
for honoring
honor
Governor
Governor
Shapiro.
Shapiro.
Yep. I'm so excited and honored to be here this evening. You want to take a turn?
Yes.
Okay, well, can mommy take a turn now?
No, not yet.
No, not yet?
Let me do it.
You want to do it?
Yes.
Okay, well, can I show you how to do it?
No, not yet.
You know how to. Head Start is working.
I want to do it.
Only in Head Start do they go from potty training to running for president.
Let me do it.
Tony's mom, 2028. But in all seriousness, I just want to say thank you guys so much. This last Friday, I was honored to attend the halls of Congress. It was my first time, but I can promise you it absolutely will not be my last. I'm the mother of a child in Head Start, and I have to say that I went to D.C. because Children First wanted to tell Congress. He said he was there too. He was at City Hall. Having an opportunity to tell Congress how important it is for us as parents.
I need to do it. I need to do
Hold on
it.
1 second. Thank you guys for your patience. Okay.
I'll do it. I need Tony How do?
Thank you guys. As you can tell, I'm a real parent, not a prop parent. Thank you. So as I was saying, you can see that I'm the mother of a child in Head Start. And I went to DC because it is so important. I took the invitation from Children's First because I wanted to make sure Congress heard us, the moms and the dads, the parents, the supportive family members, to hear just how absolutely it is critical for our nation to continue to support all and any opportunities to continue to undergird the program. During my time, I said that it was so important to continue to honor our early childhood education programs, systems, administrators, and those that donate and support and lend their voices to this extremely honorable cause. One of the other major points that I made sure to highlight was to understand that an attack on early education and programs that impact Head Start and other supportive services is an attack on the very things that this country says that we stand for. Education is a part of liberty and justice for all. I'm a living example of what Children First does every day, and better yet, what Children First has been doing for the past 45 years. We're gathered here tonight because we want to honor, and we want to welcome, and we want to celebrate. We cherish you all being here, and I'm honored to be a part of welcoming you for this auspicious occasion to laud Governor Shapiro for putting children front, center, first, and foremost throughout the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Welcome to the Children First celebration of the Champion for Children. It is my honor to introduce our first speaker, a man who played a pivotal role making Philadelphia the great city it is, former Chief of Staff for Mayor Ed Rendell. As a top executive for Comcast, David used his magic to get the company to build its national headquarters here, bringing nearly 8,000 staff to work downtown. Every major event, including 2 political conventions, showed the world how great this city is, thanks to David. And so, without further ado, I want to share that President Biden appointed him ambassador to Canada to spread the true American spirit of cooperation and also to share Philadelphia's traditions of brotherly love and sisterly affection. Please join me in welcoming the Honorable David L. Cohen.
So thanks very much. That is not an easy act to follow, but good evening, everyone. After almost 4 years of being away from Philadelphia, it's been a pleasure for Rhonda and me to return home. As Dorothy famously said, there's no place like home. And we didn't have to click our heels to get here. We are particularly happy to be here tonight to recognize and celebrate a terrific friend and leader in our Commonwealth and to support and call out one of the most important organizations in Pennsylvania defending and promoting children, led by the indefatigable Donna Cooper. I will admit that Donna's team gave me a little help with these remarks, but I will guarantee you that they did not include that last line. That is all mine. In preparing for this evening, I have given some real thought about how to impress on everyone here the effectiveness of Children First and my admiration for this organization. I'm not sure this is politically correct, but I've never been known for being politically correct. And I hope you'll give me a little literary license because linking the two organizations that I'm about to link is certainly counterintuitive. Because I think you can argue that Children First has become so effective that the organization is to child advocacy what the NRA is to its cause of protecting gun rights. So let me put some flesh on the bones of this comparative statement. Our U.S. senators and most congressmen, covering wide swaths of senators and reps in the Pennsylvania General Assembly, mayors, county commissioners, and more, all take calls from the NRA because not doing so carries such consequences. And Children First has built the same reputation. To be fair, the Children First agenda is considerably less controversial and more positive than the NRA's. Elected officials know that Children First will bring ambitious and practical proposals to the table to make the lives of children better. Children First does not take on Man of La Mancha aspirations. There is no tilting at windmills with this organization. Children First advocates are not pie-in-the-sky fighters. They know what they want, why it's needed, have assembled the right arguments with clarity, and most importantly, they've attracted the right people to stand with them. The secret sauce of Children First is a mix of savvy, well-honed skills and determination that is unmatched and is enormously effective. As a result, Children First stands out as one of the few advocacy organizations that has built deep bipartisan support behind its causes, which definitely enhances its effectiveness, which is then amplified through assembling the right advocates to join in making the case. So bottom line, like the NRA, Children First has become essentially impossible to ignore, and that is the first step for advocacy success. So when I use words like effective, committed, and passionate advocacy for children, I could just as easily be describing our honored guest this evening, Pennsylvania's Governor Josh Shapiro. So, Governor, this is the second time I've introduced you in an event, and I feel compelled and appropriate to start with a little bit of a sidelight, an important sidelight. But it's a few comments on behalf of Rhonda and me, on behalf of everyone here tonight, on behalf of all Pennsylvanians, by expressing our horror at the attempted violence that was committed against your home and your family. This is not what politics should be about, and it is not what Pennsylvania is about, and I know you know that too. Despite your lives being threatened by a violent intruder, your eloquence, your calm, your wisdom showed us what you are made of and gave the citizens of the Commonwealth the comfort that we needed in this offense that was committed against you and your family and against the Commonwealth. As I've said previously, it is in times of crisis that we can most reliably judge and assess our leaders. And your reactions in the face of a personal and Commonwealth tragedy speak volumes about the quality of your leadership. We are all very fortunate to have you in the governor's chair. You, Lori, and your children have our unequivocal sympathies and support. So let me start with that, and on behalf of everyone here. So I've had the opportunity to work with a number of governors on children's issues, almost always with Donna. And I have to say, I was surprised to learn that in its 45-year history, Children First has never recognized the Pennsylvania governor as its champion for children. As you can imagine, there have been likely contenders. Governor Casey could have been worthy since he created the Children's Health Insurance Program, the CHIP program. Governor Rendell expanded CHIP to every child, created a strong school funding formula, and launched the first state funding for pre-K and Head Start, all of which made him a contender. Their accomplishments were, without question, substantive, important, and long-lasting. But Governor, you have showed us how much further a state elected official can go to protect and support the children of the Commonwealth. From your earliest days of state service in the Pennsylvania House to now, you've worked tirelessly to make the lives of children in Pennsylvania better. You've done that for the only Pennsylvanians who can't vote you in or out of office. In spite of that, you've pushed the boundaries of what is possible and stood your ground to create important wins for our children. Let's start when you were Attorney General. You shared with a lot of us, I still remember our private conversation about this, that you had read horrific depositions detailing child abuse that literally shook your faith in humanity. Knowing the huge political risk of prosecuting leaders in the Catholic Church, you fought and won justice for more than 1,000 victims who as children were abused and whose healing from that abuse began when you agreed to take on their abusers. We honor you tonight because no other Pennsylvania Attorney General before you or since has put so much on the line to protect children. So as they say in our religion, during our family seders that take place on Passover every year, Dayenu. For those of you who don't participate in seders, that loosely translated is, that would have been enough. So that service as Attorney General would have been enough for Children First to honor you as this year's champion for children. But there's more. With just 2 years under your belt as governor, you've delivered in additional historic ways for children. I can't take an hour to go into all that, all that you've been able to accomplish in the 27 months since you took office, but let me instead use a much more truncated lightning round style. First, you expanded the school breakfast and summer meal program because, as you've said, hunger just isn't acceptable in America. And we can have some audience participation. Dianu. Second, you signed into law the first state funding for after-school and summer youth programs. Dianu. Third, you are fighting to boost the wages of childcare and pre-K staff and to dramatically expand services for young mothers dealing with postpartum depressions. Dianu. Finally, in an accomplishment that will put you in the Public Education Hall of Fame, you have championed and enacted a school funding formula that for the first time in Pennsylvania's 238-year history put the needs of low-income children first. Dianu. The odds of winning that victory were long. And one of the things I've learned about you in the many, many years we've worked together is that you take that as the ultimate challenge. Don't ever tell our governor that you can't do that, unless you really want him to do it. In this fight, you didn't have any home field advantage, given the lineup in the Senate determined to block you. But as last year's budget negotiations grew more intense, you ran your own Philly special, and at the last minute, with help from other allies of children in the General Assembly, you completed a Hail Mary and delivered for the kids in this city, in Norristown, in Pottstown, in Upper Darby, and in all the low-wealth school districts throughout Pennsylvania. You accomplished what people said could not be accomplished. Now, fortunately for us, you still have at least 2.5 years as our governor, and you should know that Children First and all of us here tonight have your back, and will be your partner, can continue to deliver big for children. This evening, it's our opportunity to thank you for your extraordinary commitment to kids and urge you to keep your foot on that pedal, because with your help, the futures of our children will be forever brighter. So please join me one more time in welcoming our honored guest and showing him our heartfelt appreciation, our 2025 Champion for Change, our Governor, Josh Shapiro.
Governor, we are teachers in Philadelphia at one of the first CTE education programs in the state. Thank you for fighting to fund programs and schools like ours.
Yes, we teachers, we thank you. We've been working across the state and districts that lack resources for many years, and we know you are a true champion for children. So thank you.
Governor Shapiro, I attended your home district, Abington. Now I'm at Temple University studying to become a public school teacher. It's because you enacted student-teacher stipends that I can do it. Thank you for being a champion for children.
Governor, I attend Saw Agricultural High School. Thank you for increasing career and technical high school programs. I love going to school, and I love that you are a champion for children. Thank you.
Governor, we are in third grade. Thank you for free school breakfast and being a champion for children. Governor, I love my elementary school. Thank you for fighting to fund it. We are in pre-K. Thank you for being our champion. We are in pre-K. Thank you for being our champion. We are pre-K. Thank you for being a champion.
That's a real. What's? Oh, that's a hard act to follow. Yes. Oh, do you want to say something too? What would you like to say? All right. Thanks, guys. You guys want to hang out up here while I talk, or you want to go play? You just want to sit here? All right. You're the reason why we do this work. You can. How about you sit right here? Come sit right now. Sit down right here. You're doing crisscross applesauce. There you go. I don't know how you're supposed to follow that. Donna, you did me dirty up here. Come on. Hey, let me just say, this is why we do this work. And there's a lot of powerful people that walk around the state capitol every day. And they hire a lot of fancy lobbyists, and they've got a lot of power in their voices. And I see them when they wander around the halls. But what I want you to know is I look past a lot of them to look into our classrooms, to look into our communities, to look into our homes and our families who are struggling every day, to make sure that when I'm doing this job for you, I'm looking out for them. And they are what matters, and that is what brings us together here tonight. I am incredibly honored to receive this award tonight, but this award is a team effort. Literally everyone in this room could have earned this award because each of you have chosen to get off the sidelines, to get in the game, and to do your part in our democracy. You know, folks ask me all the time, why is it that you do what you do? What drew you to service? First is family. Both my wife, Lori, who challenges me and inspires me every day, and our 4 children, who I want to make sure them and every other child of God gets an opportunity in life. Family inspires me. My dad, who was the local pediatrician, who looked out for kids who had been abused, who looked out for kids who were hungry, who looked out for kids who were sick, and he healed them and made them better. That inspired me, but unfortunately, you have to take organic chemistry to be a doctor. And so I knew I couldn't do that. My mom, Judy, who was a Philadelphia public school teacher, who made clear from the earliest days in my life the importance of public education, the importance of making sure every child gets a foundation for opportunity and success. My mom and dad taught me how to get off the sidelines and get in the game, and I've learned getting off the sidelines and getting in the game, it is a team sport. You need people who challenge you and motivate you and help you get to where you want to go so you can fight for these kids. And one of those people who has helped me along the way long before folks knew my name was David L. Cohen. And I want you to know how honored I am to have David L. Cohen introduce me here tonight for the incredible role he's played in my life. He and Rhonda deserve a round of applause for all they've done. And now to have the opportunity to serve as your governor, I know that every single thing we do is a team effort. I'm so privileged to work with the people I get the chance to work with every day. I want you to meet a few of the leaders in my administration who are here tonight, who do this work for you every day. Secretary Akbar Hussain, who leads our policy office and is a huge reason why we've accomplished all that we've done and why we get stuff done every single day in our administration. Secretary Hussain, thank you very much. I'm going to focus most of my comments tonight on education, but I want you to know we have a core group of people every single day looking out for the welfare of children in my administration, and that work is led by Secretary Val Arkush, who joins us here tonight, the Secretary of the Department of Human Services. Thank you, Val. I know Kate Shaw is in the house. Kate Shaw makes sure that as these children grow up, if they choose to go to college or university, and y'all better choose to stay here in Pennsylvania if you choose that path towards success, Kate Shaw is helping us reform our higher ed system and doing an amazing job. Thank you, Kate. And you want to talk about a team effort. Understand that I've been, I think now there's one other, the only governor in the country with a divided legislature. I've got one house led by Democrats, one house led by Republicans. So for me to get anything done for kids, we've got to figure out ways to build a bipartisan consensus. And for me to get any bill to my desk for the stuff that matters so much to all of you, it has to start in the House Education Committee. And we are privileged to have a gentleman named Pete Schweier, who is a state representative. Stand up, Pete. I know you're here. Right there. You need to know who that is. For those of you from the Lehigh Valley, you probably know Pete because he's your state representative. But a whole bunch of you aren't from the Lehigh Valley. You send your kids to school in Philly or in Abington, we heard before, or wherever you send them. They are all better off because Pete Schweier is the chairman of the House Education Committee, and none of this would have gotten done without his leadership. Pete, thank you. And y'all can stay here or you can go sit with your moms or dads. I'm not going to be offended, whatever you want to do. I just want you to know to receive an award like this from an organization, Children First, who've been doing this for 45 years, tireless advocates on behalf of children, this means a great deal to me. And to be able to receive this award from Donna Cooper, who has been a friend and an ally in this work for more than 2 decades, well, that means a whole lot. I still remember when I ran for state representative I'm going to date myself now, back in 2004. Nobody gave me a shot to win, but we were able to prevail. And one of the first things I did was try and fulfill a campaign promise of bringing full-time kindergarten to schools all across Pennsylvania. And I told then Governor Rendell, a mentor of mine, I said, I want to get this done. He goes, well, you need to walk down the hall to the last office in the Capitol and go see Donna Cooper. She's our Secretary of Policy. She's had the job that Secretary Hussein has now. And I thought, this is going to be amazing. I'm going to go meet a secretary, and she and I are going to work together to get this done. We're on the same side of this. And so I walked down the hall, I went to Donna Cooper's office, and she began yelling at me. Now, you've all been there. You've all been yelled at by Donna. And I thought to myself, why the hell is she yelling at me? We're trying to work together here. But that is how Donna expressed herself. 20 years have gone by. Full-day kindergarten is a reality, and Donna continues to yell at me. But Donna has challenged me, and I appreciate those challenges. And I appreciate the fact that you've made me a better public servant during my time in office. You have helped me see those kids and what their needs are, even when those folks are walking around the Capitol and they don't want us to see those kids. You are truly a treasure in this Commonwealth. We appreciate you very much, and I appreciate your friendship over 2 decades. Thanks for your leadership here at Children First. Thank you. Everyone in this room, through Donna, now y'all don't yell at me, only Donna does, but you have challenged this Commonwealth to do better. You have challenged us to go to higher heights. I want you to remember what things were like a decade ago. Public education had been harmed. $1 billion was taken out of our kids' schools. School districts had to pull back. Class sizes got bigger. Students had fewer resources. We all knew that was messed up. We all knew it wasn't right, and we all kind of had a hunch that it also didn't comport with our constitutional mandate to give every child a thorough and efficient education system in Pennsylvania. Governor Wolf came into office, and he did a great job filling that hole back up. And we were all there working with him to do that. And as Pete will tell you, it was a struggle. But he kind of got us back to baseline. And we appreciate his efforts so much. 2.5 years ago, I had the honor of taking the oath of office to be the 48th governor of this great Commonwealth, staring down an education system that I knew wasn't right, that I knew was unconstitutional. And I knew that because, as Attorney General, before serving as your governor, I filed a brief in our courts saying that Pennsylvania lawmakers were violating Article 3, Section 14 of our state constitution. The good news is, it wasn't just my voice out there. It was the voice of Children First. It was lawyers, many of whom are in this room, who challenged the status quo and said, we've got to do better for our kids. We've got a fundamental responsibility that is not just the morally right thing to do, it is the legally required thing to do. Thanks to all the advocates in this room and across the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Just a few weeks after I was sworn in to serve as your governor, the court did rule, and our hunch was right. Our system was broken. Our system was unconstitutional. You know what happened? Everybody in the room, lawmakers from both parties, knew it to be true, knew that we had to do better. I knew we had to do better. I met with all the different legislative leaders, and the result of that court decision which you should know was an appellate court decision, but not a decision from the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania, our highest court. The result of that decision was that no one in the room, Republican or Democrat, appealed, which means everyone accepted that the system was broken. And then everyone got around the table and we decided to do something about it. We said we can no longer kick the can down the road. We looked those kids in the eye and said, we have a responsibility to do better for you. And over the last 2 years, we've built budget after budget with those kids in mind. Last year, when I signed my budget into law, for the first time in the history of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, we were investing over $11 billion into public education here in our state. Put that in some context, that is $2 billion more for our school children than the day I took office. We are addressing that mandate from the courts, and we are on our way to making sure we no longer have the distinction of having an unconstitutional education system. Now, we've got to keep this going, and we are by no means done. But you have my word, we're going to continue to build on the progress we have made, and we're going to continue to make sure our kids are the most powerful lobbyists that walk those halls of the state capitol. I want you to know that to me, it's never just been about that $11 billion, and that number will grow. It's never just been about a check being written out of the Commonwealth's checkbook. It was also about making sure we had equity and opportunity in our system. Let me explain. Just writing a check wasn't enough. The fact is, what the court also said, in addition to chronically underfunding our schools, is the court said that we weren't sending the dollars to the districts that needed it most. So when the dollars were being divvied up, the schools that needed the most help were actually getting the least. And so we fought like hell to make sure that we not only put more dollars into the system, but that we did something that Donna was talking about for 30 years and others have been fighting for decades. We actually changed the formula. So when we have that dollar, it first goes to the districts that need it most, to the kids that need it most. And so, for the first time ever, 65% of every dollar of new money is now going through what we call an adequacy formula into the districts that need it most, and that fund is only going to grow as we go forward. The districts that need it most are going to get the most help. Now, to me, this whole conversation has also never just been about a check to these kids, but it's about creating opportunity for these children, about making sure the educational system actually works for them. And so, in addition to just sending more dollars to the schools that need it most, we made really important targeted investments that are paying off, that we're seeing the results of. Starting with the fact that no child is being forced to learn on an empty belly because we now have universal free breakfast in our public schools in Pennsylvania. Think about it. Think about it. You can't work on an empty belly. I get hangry when I don't eat. My wife tells me that all the time. Why should we expect our kids to be able to learn on empty bellies? This year in my budget, we're going to double down on that commitment and make sure these kids get free breakfast. And by the way, at some point, if we can, I want to make sure they get universal free lunch as well. We know how critically important that is. I also believe we need to look at our kids and see opportunity in every single one of them. Every single child has potential. I remember visiting a school years and years and years ago, long before I was governor. I remember one of the counselors there was saying to one of the kids, well, you know what? college might not be right for you. Perhaps you should consider going into the trades. Perhaps you should consider some of our VOTEC classes. Now, I'm a huge believer in VOTEC. I've doubled our budget. Now, y'all use fancy words like CTE now, but it's still VOTEC. We've doubled our budget, so my commitment is there. But here's what I have a problem with. Looking any child in the eye and saying, oh, well, college might not be right for you, so let's give you a second place prize. Every kid deserves a first place prize. Whether you go to college, whether you work in the trades, whether you decide to work for a living in a business, whatever path to success you choose, our schools need to be there to support you and lift you up. And so that is why we're investing at a record level in VOTEC and also in apprenticeship programs and so many other things to give children the opportunity for success if they choose not to go to college. If they choose to go to college, we're building a system that's more accessible and affordable with colleges and universities catering to the needs of the students who come into their colleges. We also have to make sure that as our young people are going to school, they've got an opportunity for safety in their communities, to be able to walk to and from school, and to have access to after-school programs that are going to keep them safe. We launched a new initiative expanding after-school programs so kids have somewhere safe and productive to go, and we've seeded it with tens of millions of dollars. It's working. Combined with our other investments in more policing across Pennsylvania and $140 million in initiatives for violence prevention, working with our churches, working with our rec groups, working with our community organizations. I know Donna Bullock is here. She's an example of that good work. We're creating safer communities for our kids to grow up in. We're expanding access to early childhood education and pre-K. We are increasing funding for special education. We've done it in both of our budgets. We're going to do it again a third time. And we understand how critically important all of this is. And we also understand that it all falls apart if our kids show up at school and there's no teachers there to teach them. And so I want you to know just how thankful I am to the example my mom set and all the teachers in this room have set. And we are finally, for the first time in years, reversing the downward trend of the number of teachers, and we're growing again thanks to our unique teacher stipend initiative, where teachers can earn $10,000 while they do their student teaching in our classrooms. We are growing for the first time. We're investing in repairing and upgrading our school facilities because kids shouldn't have to learn with a leaky roof or where our classroom's hot on a summer day. We've got to make sure that they have what they need in their schools. And the last thing we're doing, and this is so critically important, we are listening to the need that students have cried out for, the help that students so desperately need in their lives. And that is to make sure that there are mental health counselors and mental health services in our kids' schools. When I was Attorney General, after a horrific school shooting, the legislature couldn't come together and agree on passing common sense regulations to address gun violence in our communities. Background checks and things like that are common sense, but they couldn't come together and get it done. What they did do, though, was they vested in me as your Attorney General at the time a new initiative called Safe to Say, where students could call up anonymously or text anonymously and report, God forbid, someone bringing a gun or a weapon or wanting to bring violence to a school. I remember telling my kids, Lori and I are blessed with 4 kids, about this new initiative. And they said to me, Dad, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. No student is ever going to text that line. They're never going to call. It is a privilege for me to stand before you today and tell you, my kids were wrong. My kids were wrong. We have received in the last roughly 5 years, COVID shortened one of those school years, over 100,000 tips. But here's where I was wrong. And here's where some in the legislature were wrong. Virtually none of those tips are about kids, thank God, bringing a weapon to school. Over 85% of the tips that have come in on Safe to Say have been students asking for mental health supports. Students saying that one of their friends was considering harming themselves, or that they were considering self-harm. Students have cried out for help. I didn't believe those statistics. I went to the schools and asked those students what they needed. And they said, we need people we can talk to in our schools. I've been your governor for 2 years. And in those 2 years, we have appropriated $200 million for schools to hire mental health counselors in their schools for our children. 778 schools have been able to expand mental health services for their students. Things are working. We are rising again in our schools in Pennsylvania because we are funding them and we are meeting these needs. Consider this, 90 million breakfasts have been served in Pennsylvania schools. 3,000 new students have been enrolled in career and technical education courses. We are putting more teachers in our classroom for the first time in years. Graduation rates are rising. Here in Philadelphia, our district-wide rate has improved 4% over the last 2 years. Consumer Affairs magazine now ranks us one of the top 5 states in the entire country for quality public education. We are improving. We are meeting our constitutional mandate. We are looking out for our children, and we are making a difference here in this Commonwealth. I am mindful, of course, that as we are making progress, we're facing some headwinds. Lawmakers and policymakers and the president in Washington, D.C., just as quick as we're investing, well, they're trying to divest from our schools. They're trying to take stuff away from our kids. Now, I want you to know I will stand up to anyone who messes with Pennsylvania school children. Anyone who does. As your governor, I've exercised my legal authority to take this administration to court 4 different times, including one time when they stripped a whole bunch of money away from Pennsylvania schools. And by the way, I'm just getting started, but I'm 4-0 and they're 0-4, and we got our money back for our school kids. And so hear me on this. If they try to illegally snatch dollars and opportunity away from Pennsylvania students, they're going to have to go through me, and I got a pretty darn good track record standing up to them. We're going to keep making progress in Pennsylvania. We're going to keep honoring our constitutional responsibilities, and we're going to keep remembering what Children First preaches every single day, and that is we literally have to put the children first. I'm so passionate about this because I believe in life. Every single child, no matter their zip code, no matter the color of their skin, no matter their economic background of their parents, they should have the freedom to chart their own course and the opportunity to succeed. And if they succeed, we all succeed in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. I want to thank each and every one of you for getting off the sidelines, getting in the game, and doing your part. I'm honored and humbled to receive this award, and I couldn't be more grateful that Donna Cooper's been yelling at me for the last 20 years. God bless you all. Thank you very, very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
So they're going to start serving dinner now. Thank you for Governor Shapiro being so generous and warm in your applause. And while the waiters come to bring your food out, I just want to tell you one thing. Children first, Comcast, where's the Comcast people? Woohoo! Elevate 215, where are you guys? The State Education Association, the Pennsylvania State Education Association, and TD Bank, I can't say that one, TD, and the 35 companies and organizations and 70 individuals that sponsored tonight's celebration in the governor's honor are in awe of all he's done for our children in just 2 years. While you're waiting for your food to be served, I encourage you to look at the program on your table. Read about the achievements of the governor if you aren't impressed already with what he had to say, and get to know our sponsors and consider how you can patronize them because they are lauding Governor Shapiro for his dedication to children too. Dinner will be served, and when you get near dessert, we have a few Children First luminaries we want you to meet tonight, and then we're going to have dancing to a great DJ in the courtyard. So be ready to kick it up. Thank you. Hi, everybody. Can we have your attention? It's been amazing walking around the room and seeing all of you. And we're not going to shut the bar down this time for all the complainers. But it only stays open as long as you're quiet enough to listen to two superstars. So if I can have your attention, I want you to meet somebody very special to us. Children First has been spending the last 2 years, and by the way, I think I should introduce myself. I'm Donna Cooper. I'm the executive director. I'm the person that Josh Shapiro was referring to. And if you want to know what I was yelling at him about, find me at the bar in a few minutes. But anyhow, I want to ask for your attention because about 3 or 4 years ago, we started spending a lot of time listening to parents across our region about like what needed to happen for their kids to do better. And our goal in that was to learn the difference between just saying schools have to be better to what does it really mean. But actually we learned so much more. We learned that there were parents all over this region who are leaders, and they need to have a seat at the table. And they need to be heard from directly, unfiltered. And one of the women that we met over these years is Jasmine Banks. And I think when you listen to her, you'll understand why we believe it's so important to put parents directly in the eyes of lawmakers. And can I ask the people in the back to please give, and those of you in the front, Jasmine, your attention.
Thank you so much, Donna. Good evening. Thank you all for joining us tonight, for helping us to celebrate the great, inspiring work of Children's First, and to honor our compassionate, considerate, generous champion for children, Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro. Thank you. My name is Jasmine Banks, and I am a parent, family, recovery, and disability advocate. Yes, I have many self-defined labels, as I am a person in many populations. I was asked to share about how Children's First has impacted my life. They allowed me to share uncensored, to share whatever I wanted to. And I thought to myself, man, are they in trouble? Because they have no idea about what I'm about to share. Given free rein, I had to fight with myself to resist the temptation to share some of my horror and war stories with you about my many at-risk parenting challenges, so you would fully understand me, understand why I choose to be in so many different populations. But instead, I will be as brief as possible and share only a small part of my world, yet maybe the most important part of my world, my recovery journey, which led me to Children's First. In short, I am a person who has raised 15 children and adopted 5 older sons. Thank you. Thank you so much. And collectively, my children live with many different labels and diagnoses, from autism, intellectual disability, bipolar, schizophrenia, seizure disorder, COPD, and substance use disorder. My children have been in nearly every serving institution, including foster care, been pushed out of pre-K and special ed, been in all of the crisis centers in Philly, the youth shelters, been in a few juvenile detention centers, or youth jails, they call them, and spent most of their childhood in residential treatment centers in Utah, Tennessee, Virginia, the Carolinas, and in upstate Pennsylvania. Wherever my children went, I followed. When they deteriorated, so did I. My real life's journey was certainly not what I dreamed of. My outcomes are closer to my worst fears and nightmares. Although I am not a birth parent, I am a hands-on frontline mom that has walked in the shoes of many at-risk parents and been treated the way many birth parents are treated: disrespected, shunned, ignored, dismissed, invalidated, and undermined for simply trying to seek high-quality treatment for my children, care that is effective, safe, patient-centered, timely, efficient, and equitable. Treatment that is delivered by professionals who are respectful, communicate clearly, and involve patients and their parents and caregivers in the decision-making process. These beautiful concepts were not afforded to me and my family, so I filed endless complaints, which usually fell on deaf ears. And so I became angrier, frustrated, and more desperate as I found myself on the proverbial emotional roller coaster. I often felt like running away and never looking back. Dozens of times, my family begged me to stop in order to save my mental and physical health. But I couldn't give up. I didn't have the heart to abandon my children whose parental rights were already terminated at the time I met them. If I gave up, cracked, and gave in to the endless pressure and humiliation, they would only end up right back in the system. So I stayed. My family is part of the growing statistics of those who never get their needs met, despite an abundance of services and millions of dollars wasted in the process. In essence, you could say it is a miracle that anyone could endure what I have, because no one should have to go through what I was forced to live through. See, I wasn't afforded the luxury of informed consent, wasn't properly trained or prepared to raise my children, didn't know the language of the culture, wasn't taught about mental health diagnoses or psychiatric meds, knew nothing about crisis centers or anything about the very toxic anti-parent segregated spaces I was forced to accept if I were to remain connected to my children. But surviving many adverse childhood experiences, being raised in abject poverty to a single mother, she was incredibly nurturing, altruistic, benevolent, and compassionate. I was fortunate to have lived in only one parent's home all of my life, while my 5 children have lived in over 50 out-of-birth parent placements. Sad but true. And there are many families out here like mine and those with even higher statistics. I believe my children's outcomes and my life experiences were preventable. And although I can't go back in time and change things, thanks to recovery, I can learn to live life on life's terms. Yes, I embrace the term recovering parent in more ways than you can imagine. I have survived, and now I'm a grateful recovering parent, and I am on a healing journey now. Although I never used substances, never drank alcohol, never smoked cigarettes, inhaled nicotine, or smoked marijuana to cope, despite living with toxic stress, moral injury, injustice, and indifference. I didn't have the common social habits of escaping and self-medicating. Although substance use disorders, alcohol and drug addiction were the other plagues that ravaged my own family and my community. I am grateful that I found a positive coping skill, and that is journaling. I write out all of my negative emotions, write out all the things that actually happened to me and my family, and now I realize I have a paper trail, which I hope to turn into a memoir to share with everyone so that they won't have to live the life that I did. I am so grateful to know that despite what you have been through in life, beautiful things can still happen to you. When you learn to surrender, learn about self-regulation, learn to set some healthy boundaries, and especially learn to be open-minded. I wanted to share a recovery story tonight because May is Children's Mental Health Awareness Month. And I was so glad that the governor mentioned the topic, because children have mental health needs too, not only adults. Learning the importance of mental wellness and recovery can help us all to be more effective and balanced parents, caregivers, and citizens. I'm grateful to my family, Rock, and husband, Sid, of nearly 40 years. I know, where is he? I don't know where, here he goes. Thank you. Stand up, Sid. For helping me to maintain my mental wellness behind the scenes. Thank goodness I was introduced to an agency called Children's First by a peer and mentor named Imani Badi. You in the house, Imani? If so, please stand up. Thank you, Imani. Because Children's First inspires me to hold on to hope. They remind me that people really do care, and thus they help me to maintain my mental health while also teaching me how to be an effective advocate and speak to our legislators. Whether Children's First is aware of it or not, they are actually working to preserve children's mental health and the community's mental health. Although they are primarily education specialists, they are also the other mental health specialists. Because when our children thrive, the society thrives. They are a frontline organization striving to make meaningful changes in the lives of our children by ensuring that children gain access to pre-K, that schools are fully funded, and that the pre-K teachers and other teachers are able to receive a fair wage and resources they need so that the teachers can maintain their mental health. Children First embodies the concept, a mind is a terrible thing to waste. They also remind me of the legendary words of the powerful, courageous ancestor born into the American Holocaust, also known as American slavery, who once said that it is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men, broken adults. These statements are far more than cliches, by the way, because I know what can happen to a child who has been pushed out, left out, ignored, and abandoned by society. Because I have seen firsthand the concept of the school to prison pipeline, the foster care to prison pipeline, and I've seen some other pipelines too, like the drug addiction, homelessness, and incarceration pipelines. When our children are denied an effective education and effective treatment. The motivational speaker Les Brown once said, "We either live our dreams or we live our fears." And because of the dedication, sacrifices, gifts, and talents of Inella Ray. Inella, you in the house? Please stand up. Director of Parent Advocacy and Engagement at Children's First, along with the other Children's First staff. If they're here, please stand. Symbol, Amy, Steve, Kate, Stephanie, and all of the Children's First Fairs. They are living and breathing examples of my dreams, only in real time. And at the helm of the great team of inspiring leaders, role models, and mentors is Donna Cooper, the executive director of Children's First. I read that the former mayor of Philadelphia and the former governor of Pennsylvania, Ed Rendell, once said that Donna is the conscience and soul of his administration. Very powerful words. I'd like to add that the entire Children's First staff are the conscience and soul of all parents. Although small, they are mighty. They are the epitome of the African proverb, it takes an entire village to raise one child. There's a whole lot more I would love to share with you about why Children's First is so important to me. But I'd like to end by saying, it has never taken a whole lot of people to make a difference, to make transformational change. Just us in this room tonight, coming together to support Children's First can make a major difference in the lives of our children. I happen to agree with the Margaret Mead quote, which says, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world." But of course, we must remember what Frederick Douglass reminded us about over 168 years ago that still rings true tonight, that power concedes nothing without a demand. It never has and it never will. So we must continue to push, but we need a collective, organized, well-funded push. Because Frederick Douglass also said that if there is no struggle, there is no progress. So let's donate generously to Children's First tonight so we continue to struggle together. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Donna. Good evening. Buenas noches. Hello. For our littles and those of you going through flashes like me, anybody need to work the wiggles out? All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Banks, for sharing your story, your enthusiasm for Children First, and for doing so much on behalf of your own and all of Pennsylvania's children every day. You, the indefatigable, I had to think about how David got that word out, Donna Cooper, sorry. The governor and the whole Children First team truly put children first all the time. Okay, if you applauded, you agree. If you agree, show me some love. You all have this beautiful flyer brochure, two-folded piece of paper, and you thought it was just good pictures of kids. It is that. But if you open it up to this little red section, there's one of those fancy things the kids call a QR code. Please join us in continuing to do this great work. If you are here as a guest of your company, yes, that's you, the PNC table, the Comcast table, the Elevate 215 table. Stacy didn't invite you just because you're cute. Thank the colleague, the friend, whoever brought you here, but also please pay it forward and share in the generosity. Take out your phone, scan the QR code, and make a contribution to, say it with me please, put children first. Thank you. Now forgive my manners, I got caught up in the enthusiasm and started demanding money before I even said hello. I was raised a little better than that. just a little. I'm Heidi Ramirez. I'm an educator and equity advocate. Yes, I said the E word out loud. And I'm a proud member of the Children First Action Fund Board. And I'm delighted to be with so many of you who share our commitment to caring for all of our children every day. When they were putting together this program, my only ask was an unusual one. I wanted to make sure that when my name was listed, it included that PhD. And that's not something I normally do. But I wanted you to know some things about me. I have a PhD and a master's degree in sociology from Stanford University. It's the Harvard of the West. I have a bachelor's degree from Syracuse, go Orange. A master's degree in Ed Policy and Administration from Harvard, the Syracuse of New England. I worked in the Clinton administration at Temple University as a district leader in Memphis and Milwaukee, was on the school board, and I live in South Philly. Woo! Good, I'm gonna need a ride home later, thank you. Okay. More important though, like most of you, I'm a former child. And not just any child. I'm the daughter of an immigrant, the 6th of 8 children, raised by a single mother, and a proud Head Start alumnus. Are there more of our, where's our Head Start families? I saw a couple earlier. Woo! Oh, that was just a hug. There we go. My mother often worked 2 to 3 jobs at a time to take care of this big brood of hers. Sometimes leaving her children home alone so she could work the 11 o'clock at night to 7 o'clock shift as a toll collector on the New York State Thruway. Do not call DSS. It was the only job she had that had health benefits, which made it sacred to us. Thanks in part to her Head Start training, she was an incredible advocate for her children, though I don't think she had anything on Miss Jasmine. She sent all 8 of her children to college and eventually completed a bachelor's degree herself, the same year that I graduated from Syracuse. Yes. I should note that also all of her grandchildren, at least those of legal age, are also enrolled or completed post-secondary education. That's 12 kids, grandkids. For those of you who don't know it, Head Start is a federally funded, comprehensive early childhood education, health, nutrition, and parent empowerment program. It launched as part of President Johnson's War on Poverty, serves low-income families, 3- and 4-year-olds, and through early Head Start, infants, toddlers, and pregnant women. This year, Head Start celebrated its 50th anniversary. And no, I was not in the inaugural class, thank you very much. But it has contributed to the lifelong success of millions of economically disadvantaged children like me. From healthy eating habits, dental care, learning how to share, read, ride a bike, be ready for school, and imagine whole new worlds for ourselves and with our communities. But sadly, this year, Head Start has been threatened as never before. So what happens when the Commonwealth's leading advocate for children hears that cuts are coming for nearly 1 million Head Start children, as well as potential cuts to SNAP, health care, and education for our most marginalized? Well, it's children first. They rally the troops. They organize 3 buses of families, as you heard folks talk about earlier, families, caregivers, educators, advocates, like the extraordinary Miss Jasmine, like Miss April. They ride to DC, and they flood the Capitol to collectively combat the federal assault on our children. Because we put children first. There are lots of lobbyists in Harrisburg and DC, but none with the compassion, the courage, the co-conspirators, the coordination, contributors, and that other C word, not cojones, chutzpah, to be nimble and effective as children first. And they do it every day all over PA. They do it what? Put children first. Say it, scan it. Take out your cameras, kids. They're walking around the room. If you haven't made a donation, please do. Why? Because when we put children first, we're advocating for health care, early learning, education, vulnerable youth. The Children First fight is not free. The constant barrage against our children creates new demands, calls for new strategies, and requires additional resources. The contributions of your time, your talents, and yes, your treasures. Scan it and say it with me. Put children first. This is where the chutzpah comes in. When Senator Wyden describes this as not just having a big mouth, it's imagining and embracing new possibilities despite the odds. Through some crazy combination of vision, ideas, partners, processes, and yes, voice and audacity. It is about doing the work of committing to social justice, political activism, and in the broadest sense, ethical behavior. Or as Christians say, when you take care of the least of his little ones, you are serving him. Children First shares this vocation. It's not just about stopping Head Start cuts or Medicaid cuts or SNAP, AmeriCorps, student loans. It's also about, and it's not just about making small policy tweaks. That's what they want us to be focused on. That work's important, but those incremental reforms, as Rua Benjamin describes us, are just softening the hard, jagged edges of a violent system. With your support, Children First will continue stamping out the fires by others. But like Head Start kids, we'll also be imagining and advancing new possibilities. Children First is about not letting them distract us from the bigger, the long-term play, imagining and designing a commonwealth that lives up to that name, where there are no low-performing schools, no disadvantaged families, no dangerous neighborhoods, no at-risk youth, where no child can be born considered illegal, where there are no notions of deserving families, because there's no such thing as an undeserving family, and where unjust systems are extinct and opportunities for children, like their countless talents, are equally distributed and recognized. Now say it with me, scan it one more time. Put children first. That's all I have.
I have a PSA, a public service announcement. For anybody that scans more than $45 for tonight, you enter a raffle for one of these amazing beach blankets. This is the WHYY cheesy part of the pitch, right? So you get one of these beach blankets, you get entered into a lottery for your $45 or more in response to Heidi's request.
Did Stacy's table hear that? Did you all hear that in the back? Scan a couple more times, get yourself a blanket, but more importantly, do God's work, show some chutzpah, take care of our children, and let's together create a world that is better for all of us, and again, for a commonwealth. Thank you so much. Mil gracias y adelante.
Okay, folks, we dream big, as you can tell. So the next part of the dream is that you join us for dancing, because as they say, dancing is like dreaming in real life. Enjoy. Thank you for coming tonight.